The content you are about to ingest is for mature audiences only. Human written, voiced by AI. Welcome to Bella Vita, Tales of Sidori Island Part 1. Trigger warnings such as cheating, dubious consent, BDSM, secret society, abduction, female revenge, mild torture, and many other kinks and fetishes may occur throughout the story. If you aren't into weird shit, you reserve the option to press stop at any time. If you like weird shit and wish to continue, sit back, do nothing, and enjoy. Episode 1: The Box.
Alana Winters is rummaging through her laptop bag looking for a pen as she prepares for her ethics class. It's her last class before she receives her degree. Today is the day an interim professor is teaching at the university for the semester. Between the loose papers of her 4-year-old daughter's drawings and the previous notes she has taken, a pen is nowhere to be found. Her search becomes interrupted as the interim speaker approaches the podium. All of her attention is focused on him as he begins his monologue in the lecture hall.
In a foreign accent, he introduces himself to the class. Dr. William Strictland is his name. He studied law overseas at Mansfield University and had become well known for his controversial best-selling book, Unethical Ethics. His book questioned common ethical practices in relationships, life, and how far will a person go to survive. He wanted to challenge things viewed as ethical are just tools of control and manipulation. After concluding his introduction, everyone in the classroom applauds except Alana. Dr. Strictland notices her reluctance and makes note.
Alana was in school for project managing and marketing. Her husband of 2 years is her support system for her and their daughter as she is finishing grad school. She had her daughter Alyssa during her junior year. Normally raising a child while in school would be difficult, but her boyfriend, now husband Jason, worked hard in making sure her life didn't miss a beat. She was ready to take on the challenge of showing her daughter how to be successful in business and a mom. Alana comes from a mild conservative family that instilled what she believes to be values and morals to abide by. So anything or anyone challenging those ideas was hard for her. For class, she was forced to read Unethical Ethics, which is something she would have never read on her own. Now she is in class having to listen to a person whose individual ideologies contradict hers.
Dr. Strickland's lecture begins with him asking how many of the 63 students in the class are in a serious committed relationship. A third of the class raises their hand. His follow-up question asked how they knew if their relationship was serious. Audible whispers echoed around the room. A student raises her hand and says it has to be agreed upon by both parties that the relationship is serious. He pauses for a minute and looks around the room as they are awaiting his rebuttal. He asks, "At what point does the seriousness for the commitment change?" A student yells out, "When he cheats." Laughter ensued. Dr. Strickland smiles and waits for the room to quiet down. He explains how ethics and morals aren't as black and white as many people wish them to be. They can differ by many factors such as race, religion, and upbringing, etc. He told the class since the student brought up cheating, he would focus his semester's lecture on that topic.
Alana did not seem to be thrilled about her ethics class. She understands the necessity of the credit for her degree. She, herself, was happily married and hadn't thought about anything other than school and her family. Her agitated posture in her seat spoke loudly of her disinterest. Between daydreaming about last night with her husband and halfway listening to the professor, she hears what is to be the class's homework assignment. Students are to make an anonymous list about times in life when they have cheated, whether it was a game, test, significant other, or taxes. Anything where cheating could be applied. Dr. Strickland would read them aloud next class, and students will determine if the reason was ethical, unethical, or unethically ethical. Alana's personal feelings on ethics don't allow her to find anything ethical in cheating, and has no clue to what unethical ethics is exactly.
Class is dismissed and Alana makes her way to the stairs leading towards the exit at the top of the lecture hall when Dr. Strickland gets her attention and asks her to stay after class. She makes her way down the stairs to the podium where Dr. Strickland was standing. He introduces himself again and asks her for her name. He expressed that he noticed her disdain towards his teachings. Before she was able to respond, he asks if she will meet him later that afternoon to discuss as to why she felt the way she did. She looks up at his stubbly beard that surrounded his seductive smile. Her only recourse was to agree.
In between class and her meeting, Alana goes to her friend's dorm room. Her friend Mia opens the door, and Alana rushes in and asks for a shot of tequila. Confused as to why Alana needed a drink at 1 in the afternoon, without any hesitation she grabs a bottle out of the refrigerator. Alana proceeds to tell her about Dr. Strickland's ideology about ethics regarding cheating. Mia was listening intensely while pouring the shots as Alana was ranting about her interim professor. Alana gets to the end of her rant and mentions that he wanted to see her in the next hour. Mia, handing Alana her shot, had only one question after she heard Alana's elaborate story. Is he cute was the question. Alana has the shot glass to her lips when she questions Mia's only question about him being cute. The look on Alana's face told Mia everything she needed to know. Alana takes her shot and confesses to Dr. Strickland having a seductive smile. She added that his cologne was very inviting, and he probably should have been something other than a professor. Gathering herself after the burn of the tequila subsides, Alana admits that Dr. Strickland was a little more than attractive for his age of 40. It is time. Alana leaves Mia's dorm and enters the office located in the corner of the lecture hall and sees Dr. Strickland sitting at his temporary desk while her professor is on leave. He asks her to close the door and take a seat. It is the end of his workday, so he had taken his tie off and unbuttoned the top part of his light blue collared shirt. She takes a seat. He takes his right thumb and index finger and grabs his left ring finger where a black ring was located and spins the ring around his finger. He notices the rings on her finger and asks how long she's been married. She tells him 2 years and asks why he wanted to see her. He refers to previous years where one student always challenged his philosophies. She asks was he trying to change her ethics and principles. He states his job is not to change minds, but to provide people power to make their own decisions on what is ethical and unethical. She inquires on what his plan is. Dr. Strickland reaches under his desk and grabs a small 4x3x2 box and places it on the desk. The box is small enough to fit inside of a small handbag. Attached to the box is an envelope. He begins to explain the rules of his assignment. If you open the envelope, you have to take the box and participate. If you participate, you pass the class. If you open the envelope and choose not to participate, you fail the class. If you choose not to open the envelope and you leave everything as is, you have to complete all of the assignments just like everyone else. Alana asks what is in the box. What's in the box? Dr. Strickland grabs his keys off of the desk that sat next to his tie, gets up and walks out as if he didn't hear her question. Upon exiting the room, he commands her to lock the door on her way out. Confused about the whole situation, Alana sits and stares at the box. The look on her face reads as what the fuck? She starts to nervously bounce her leg up and down. She has a decision to make. She starts to break down the outcomes of each choice. She knows 2 certainties: if she does nothing, nothing changes. If she does something and then nothing, she fails the class. Her curiosity wants to know what's in the fucking box. She is thinking to herself, how bad could it be? Maybe there is a cell phone inside of the box and he is going to call me with instructions to blow something up. Alana takes a deep breath and says, fuck it. It is my last class, and reaches for the envelope. She opens the envelope and pulls out a card. The card reads, if you are reading this, then you have chosen to find the gray between the black and white no matter how thin the line is. You have made the choice to challenge your beliefs, ethics, morals, ideologies, and everything you've held to be true. Text this number and reply with a thumb up emoji. And P.S. do not open the box until you are instructed. Perplexed, as this sounds more and more like her thought of a bomb, she grabs her phone and sends the text. Immediately, she is sent an address with a time and a message attached telling her to bring her husband and the unopened box. Before she could finish her thought of the box being a bomb, it was interrupted by another text saying, I'll be bringing my wife to dinner also. She let out a sigh as she grabs the box and places it in her tote bag. As she walks out of the room, she receives another text saying, don't tell your husband about the box. She replies with why, as she is closing the door awaiting a response. There was no response. She looks down at the phone and sees the message has been read and sends 3 question marks. The message was read and no response came. She thought to herself this must be part of the assignment and leaves the lecture hall to go home.
Dr. Strickland enters his vacation rental and walks into the bedroom. He sets his things down and sits in a chair with a clear view of the bathroom. He can see his wife Christina standing in front of the bathroom mirror in a towel brushing her hair. She just got out of the shower as she was urged to do so from a text sent by her husband earlier expressing their dinner plans for the evening. From his angle, he can see the lower half of her ass cheeks with visible water still dripping after her shower. It takes her a while to get ready. Managing her long, straight, dark brown hair adds extra time to her preparation routine. She normally would have a staff that attends to her hair because she used to model. She even made the cover of Lady K magazine, the biggest fashion magazine overseas. Christina's soul-piercing green eyes grabbed your attention second to the exposed tops of her smooth round breast that were always visible due to her outfit designs. Or it could be the way her feet arched in heels, causing her calves and thighs to flex. Indiscriminately of one's preference of features, her poster was on the walls of men and women of all ages across the world. Dr. Strictland matches her beauty with his sleek debonair style. He could easily do a few underwear ads himself. If he was an actor, 007 would be within his grasps. But he is a professor, which is more challenging than playing a role due to the amount of students trying to earn a little extra credit. He completely undresses and walks into the bathroom where he greets his wife with a light slap on her ass. As he passes, she takes her left hand and reaches behind her and grabs his semi-erect dick. She can see his head sticking out of her hand through the reflection in the mirror. He stops, leans in and kisses her on her cheek. She lets go and he walks to the shower area located away from the vanity and turns on the water.
Alana gets in her vehicle and calls Mia. Mia answers in an intrigued tone. Alana explains what is going on, giving her the details of the note and the box, not sparing any information. Mia listens intensely to the rules of the box, and before she could ask any questions, Alana asks Mia can she come over to watch her daughter Alyssa. Without any hesitation, Mia accepts her offer and says she will meet her at her apartment within the hour. Jason Winters is lying on the floor in a tank top and sweatpants coloring with his daughter Alyssa when Alana walks in the door. They greet each other with their usual pet names as Alana sets her tote bag on the couch, kneels down to kiss Alyssa and then Jason. Alana sits on the couch and begins to take off her shoes as she tells Jason that they have a dinner date with her interim professor and his wife. Jason, confused as to why she was chosen for dinner, Alana insists it was random for a class project they are working on. Alana tells him that Mia will be over in a few to watch their child, and that he needed to get ready and look the part because her grade depended on it. Jason gets up off of the floor, grabs Alyssa and places her onto Alana's lap. Before Alana can get all of her tickles and kisses in, Mia is at the door knocking. Alana stands up to answer the door. She tells Alyssa Auntie Mimi is going to be watching her as she opens the door to greet Mia. They greet each other with their usual kisses and Alana tells Mia she has to get ready. As Alana is walking away, Mia inquires about the location of the box and letter so she can see it for herself. Alana tells her it's in the bag on the couch as she makes her way to her bedroom. She gave one last reminder to Mia not to open it as she closes the door to her room. Alyssa runs and grabs Mia by the hand and leads her to the area where she was coloring, which is next to the couch.
Dr. Strictland turns off the water to the shower. He steps out of the glass-framed shower as steam is escaping the pores of his broad shoulders and chiseled chest. He walks out of the bathroom in a towel covering the lower half of his body and sees Christina lying on the bed, knees up in her towel and her legs open. He pretends to ignore her as he walks to the closet across from the bed where his suits are hanging. She stares at his glistening back as he picks out his grey suit, walks over to the bed and places it down. He heads back to the closet to find a shirt and tie to match his suit. Keeping her eyes fixated on her husband, she takes her left hand, licks her fingers and caresses her vagina that is exposed to anyone who walks past the bed. She can feel the moisture starting to build. It wasn't anything he was doing, it was where her mind was taking her to direct her next move. Her free hand loosens her towel. Dr. Strictland, with his back turned, still deciding on his shirt and tie, is suddenly blinded by the towel and dragged towards the bed. Christina wraps the towel around Dr. Strictland's eyes, maintains control of the towel with her right hand while dragging him towards the bed. As the back of his legs touch the bed, he plops down on the edge of the bed. She places the fingers that were just touching her creamy pussy in his mouth. He takes his warm tongue and swirls it around her fingers, adding more saliva. She releases her hold of the towel as she lies back on the bed. Her legs are open and she is presenting everything to the doctor. He turns towards her with his arms on the bed planted beside her waist, looking down at her. He resembles a tiger hovering over its prey right before it attacks. Her waist and legs are underneath his well-defined straddling arms. She sees a look of bloodthirst in his eyes. She uses the bed as leverage in an attempt to shimmy away from what she imagines to be a hungry beast. She can feel his breath as her crotch aligns with his mouth in her escape attempt. With each one of his exhales, her vaginal grip tightens and more fluid leaks onto the bed. 2 more scoots and I'm safe, she thought to herself. She closes her eyes and presses her foot onto the bed in hopes to escape. But before she was able to push herself further away, in one swoop he grabs the back of both of her knees and pushes them to her shoulders. Her ass cheeks are lifted off of the bed. Her juice-covered ass and pussy are exposed with zero protection from the doctor's tongue. She lets out a moan as his tongue leads the attack from her rim to her clit as the mouth engulfs what's left over. He presses his tongue firmly against her clitoris. Then he slides down and does the same to her rim. He can taste sweet-like nectars integrated with her natural bodily fluids. He slides back up to her clit and uses his mouth to provide suction. She moans after each one. After about 3 sucks, he pauses for about 5 seconds on the 4th one. Her body begins to tremble and suddenly the doctor releases her legs as he stands up. She can see what she grabbed in the bathroom is twice the size it was when she grabbed it. It looks as if it wants to tear right through the towel. He walks back to the closet and grabs a shirt. Christina, who is lying on the bed, sits up, grabs her towel, and throws it at the doctor, hitting him in the back. He grabs his shirt and turns around with a devilish smirk on his face and says, "It's time to go."
With Jason already in the shower, Alana begins to remove her clothes. She hears Jason humming and she pulls back the shower curtain. Jason's back is turned as he is lathering his chest. Suds are dripping down beneath his belly button. Alana slides her hand across the dripping suds, adding moisture to her palm, and grabs his dick. Jason immediately hardens in her hand as she steps completely into the shower. Standing behind him, she wraps her other arm around Jason and grabs the leftover meat with her other hand. The provided lubrication from the suds allowed her slow strokes to provide a pleasurable friction, making Jason's dick throb with excitement. His humming had instantly turned into moans. Alana removes her right hand and covers Jason's mouth in an attempt to quiet him down. Her left hand grip tightens as she pulls, leading him to turn around. Simultaneously, as he is turning around, her hand is removed from his mouth. He lets out a deep groan. They are now facing each other. Along with the water, Alana feels something warm on her. She looks down and sees globs of ejaculate shooting out of Jason's dick, landing up her forearm and thigh. Looking up at his squinted eyes, she again quickly places her right hand over his mouth in an attempt to quiet him. She continues her slow, twisty strokes as she backs up with the remaining drops of his cum splashing on her freshly painted toes. She removes her hand, kisses him, and tells him to move because she has to get clean. She does one last squeeze and shake of his flaccid penis, and the remaining droplets hit her belly and breast. Jason finishes rinsing off and exits the shower, and Alana begins her shower routine.
Christina is almost dressed. The only thing left to complete her form-fitting attire is her heels. She sits down on the side of the bed and holds out her right hand, holding her red pointed toe heels by the ankle strap. Dr. Strictland reaches for the shoes, kneels down on the side of the bed and places the shoes on the floor. He takes his left hand and places it on her mid-thigh and begins to slide his hand down her leg. His right hand is on the bottom of her left foot. He raises her leg ever so slightly as his hands meet each other at her heel and ankle. The movement of her leg allowed her red G-string to be slightly visible. The light aroma drifting from between her legs reminded him of the sweet flavor he experienced only moments prior. He slides her left foot into her shoe. He works his way to her right leg and repeats his previous actions. This time, when her leg moves, he can see a wet spot on her panties as he places her right foot into her shoe. He gets up, grabs her hand as she stands up from the bed. He pulls her close as he leans in for a kiss. They peck and he squeezes her buttocks as he pulls her in tighter. His quick pecks turn into deep, passionate kisses as their tongues begin to invade each other's mouths. She can feel him hardening against her pelvis. She suddenly pushes him away and reminds him they have to leave. Dr. Strictland looks at Christina with disappointment, grabs his phone and sends a text saying, We are on our way, and in big bold letters he reminds her not to forget the box. The Stricklands leave and drive to the restaurant.
Jason is finishing getting ready when Alana comes out of the bedroom to ask Mia what she thinks about the box. Mia mentioned she had shaken the box, played catch with the box, and even searched the internet for popular items inside of a small box. She admits to Alana that she has no clue. Alana smiles as she walks over to Mia to collect the box so she can place it in her bag. She puts the box in her bag and leans down to Mia, who is holding Alyssa, and gives Alyssa a hug and kiss. She leans in towards Mia and gives her a hug and whispers in her ear for her to wish her luck. Jason exits the bedroom. Alyssa hops off of Mia's lap and runs to Jason. He picks her up and gives her a hug. He says his goodbyes and he walks over to Mia and hands Alyssa back to her. Jason tells Mia bye as he heads out the door. Alana grabs her bag and follows behind. She looks back at Mia, placing her hands together, as if she was praying, mouthing for Mia to pray for her, with Mia demanding for her to text her when she opens the box.
On the way to Marcelli's restaurant, Christina asks Dr. Strickland about his student they're meeting for dinner. She inquires as to why they were chosen for the project. As they sit in the back seat of the car service vehicle provided by the school, he receives a text message from Alana before he is able to answer the question. The message said she and Jason were running late and on their way. Dr. Strickland looks at his wife and admits that she and Alana would get along. He goes on to enforce the idea that something was different about Alana, and depending on how dinner goes, she could be the inspiration of his new book. Christina listens with curiosity and confirms it's a female student they're meeting. He looks over at Christina and says that he didn't want a pervy young adult male jerking off and coming under the table as he stares at her breast. Christina rebuttals with accusations of a female student possibly doing the same thing. He is silent without a response as they arrive at the restaurant. Christina asks if he thinks Alana will earn an A in his class. The driver opens their door. Dr. Strickland steps out of the vehicle curbside, extending his hand to his wife, and says he's confident in Alana's ability to adapt to any situation, and besides, she's making the decision to come, which pretty much guarantees it. The driver closes their door as they enter the restaurant.
Jason is weaving in and out of the moderate traffic because he and Alana are about 7 minutes late for their dinner engagement. Alana texts Dr. Strickland they are on the way. Alana apologizes to Jason for the abrupt change in schedule for the evening. He admits he was flustered when he went back to the room to shower, but all was forgiven after their shower experience. Alana looks at Jason and smiles as she asks where that leaves her. Jason takes his right hand off of the steering wheel. He follows the seatbelt, which is separating her perfectly shaped C-cupped breast with the back of his hand. During his action of making his way down to her exposed thighs, his forearm slightly grazes her left nipple. To align with the design of her dress, a bra was not feasible, and it allowed for his gentle graze to feel more intense. Jason makes his way to her thigh as he slowly slides it up her dress. They stop at a red light as he reaches her pussy. He can feel her body heat on his palm. Alana begins to bite her lip and close her eyes. He uses his fingers to apply pressure to her clit over her panties. He feels moisture beginning to build. Her breathing becomes heavy. The light turns green and he removes his hand to focus on maneuvering as they arrive at Marcelli's. With her arms folded in disappointment, Alana calls Jason an asshole as he pulls into a parking spot. He leans in and gives her a kiss before they exit the vehicle to enter the restaurant.
Dr. Strickland and Christina are sitting at the table when they were notified that their guests have arrived. He looks up and sees Alana walking to their table. The way his body is responding to what he is seeing is an indication on how good she looks. The royal blue dress accents every perfect curve on Alana's body. If there is an imperfect curve, the dress is perfect at hiding it. Christina looks at Dr. Strickland staring at Alana, reaches over, grabs and squeezes his thigh using her nails as the Winters approach the table. The Stricklands stand up to greet Jason and Alana and introduce themselves. They take their seats. Alana sits across from Dr. Strickland as Jason sits on Alana's right-hand side across from Christina. The waiter approaches the table with a red and a white wine. Alana chooses the red as she makes reference to Christina's dress. She mentions how red wines were her favorite and how good Christina looked in red. Jason interrupts and speaks on how familiar Christina looks to him. Dr. Strickland suggests since red is the topic, the whole table will be drinking the red. Everyone's focus was back onto Jason with curiosity on how he may know Christina. Alana, sitting in suspense, staring at Jason, is waiting on his response. After about 3 long seconds of awkward silence, Christina addresses the elephant in the room and tells them she might have been a popular model featured on a few magazines. Jason snaps his finger in agreement and blurts out Lady K. Christina and Dr. Strictland laugh and confirm his answer. Jason notes that she went by Christina LaRue at the time she was modeling. Jason and Christina begin to have a side conversation. Alana's phone vibrates. She checks her messages with an instruction to go to the bathroom and open the box after they eat dinner. She loses focus and begins to feel her heart beat through her chest. At this point, all she can hear is the sound of her heart beating, and underneath the beat she hears her name being called, saying that it is her turn to order. Dr. Strictland interrupts and says everything is on him, and everything on the menu is available. Alana orders the grilled chicken salad. She didn't have much of an appetite due to her anxiety.
Laughter and conversation sound so distant, but yet so close. It fades in and out to Alana as she contributes minimally to the conversation as she is eating. She realizes the contents of the box will be revealed more sooner than later. Butterflies, loss of appetite, and sweaty palms are in control right now. The more she thinks, the more she drinks. Fortunately, everyone is drinking at the same pace, so her self-medicating goes unnoticed. Periodically during conversation, Dr. Strictland and Alana make eye contact and she quickly looks away. She hears her phone's message notification. She looks and sees she has 2 missed messages. One was a question mark from Mia and the other message said, "It is time." Alana hears Jason talking to Christina. Something about a poster echoed in the background. Dr. Strictland is staring at Alana. She downs the remaining wine in her glass. She interrupts Jason and Christina's conversation and tells Jason she has to use the bathroom. Christina asks Alana if it is okay if she goes with her. Alana replies yes. They both get up and go to the bathroom. Upon getting up, Alana makes eye contact with the professor again as she quickly turns around in the direction of the bathroom. Alana and Christina enter the bathroom. They both walk into their individual stalls. You can hear the wine coming out of both women. Christina finishes up and exits the stall. She walks over to the sink and washes her hands. She goes inside of her purse, retrieves makeup items, and starts to reapply her makeup. Alana had stopped peeing what had felt like an eternity ago. She is just sitting there staring at the box. Her heart is beating extremely loud. She's surprised that Christina can't hear it echo throughout the empty bathroom. She knows that she can't stay in the stall forever, and if she takes any longer, Christina might inquire as to what's going on. Alana takes a deep breath and opens the box.
This episode of Bella Vita Tales of Sidori Island Part 1 is sponsored by...
Here's the plot. A serial killer's last victim survives and is rescued and treated by the best first responder team in the city. The victim is treated at the hospital by a world-renowned doctor who learns the victim has a rare disease. While the police force and FBI are searching for the serial killer, the hospital staff and doctor race to find a cure for the rare disease of the lone survivor of a serial killer. Suddenly, a terrorist plot on the hospital is uncovered and a special ops unit has to intervene before the hospital is destroyed, and the doctor never finds a cure for the lone survivor of the serial killer who the cops need as a witness to help find out who it is. That's their network series plots, not ours. You can clearly tell, over here we ain't them and they ain't us. Bella Vita Tales of Sidori Island Part 1 isn't just a story, it's an experience. And for those who want to take the potion and go deeper to uncover the secrets behind the scenes, there's only one place to do it: Patreon. When you subscribe, you get ad-free early access to episodes, exclusive character details, and behind-the-scenes content that takes you inside the mind of the creator. Think of it as your all-access pass to the world of Bella Vita. Visit patreon.com/The Felix Network and join us. Because over here, we are something different.
Inside the box, there is a note on top and it reads, "Turn on, set to 1 and place inside of your underwear." It has a picture for reference. Under the note, there was a device about the length of a credit card and the width of 2 of her fingers. It was smooth and made out of silicone and has 3 buttons. She removes it from the box to get a closer examination. Her phone vibrates. She places the device back inside of the box and reads the text message. It says, "Let me know when you are wearing it." She texts back, "What is it?" Christina, who is alerted by the vibrations coming from Alana's stall, asks if everything is okay. Alana responds saying she is checking on her daughter. Feeling rushed, Alana turns on the device and a digital 5 pops up on an LED screen. She places it inside of her underwear according to the picture and texts the word done. She exits the stall. Christina is putting on lipstick as Alana walks to the sink next to her to wash her hands. They lock eyes in the mirror for a brief second. The water turns on and suddenly Alana feels a jolt of vibration attack her clitoris. The unexpected jolt throws her off balance and she almost falls into Christina. Christina helps Alana regain her balance and asks if everything was okay. Alana insists the wine got to her a little bit and she was okay. All Alana could think was Mr. Strickland has a remote that is controlling the device when another zap interrupted her thoughts and jump-started her clit. This time she still wasn't prepared, but she maintained her balance. The only difference is she let out a moan and quickly disguised it as a cough. Christina asks again if she is sure everything is okay. Alana reiterates everything is fine as she makes her way to exit the bathroom. Christina closes her lipstick and follows behind. The table is about 30 feet away from the bathroom. That was a long enough time for Alana to think and get buzzed 4 times in transit, each one causing a discomforting satisfaction. Alana was so confused. She didn't know what to feel or what to think. She is now in the line of sight of the doctor. She refuses to look at him in his eyes. They reach the table and it has been cleared of everything except for the wine. Christina suggests that Jason and Alana switch seats so she can get to know Alana. Jason gets up and slides over as an intense vibration is occurring in Alana's panties. Trying not to appear drunk again, Alana braces herself discreetly on the chair, digging her nails into the back of the seat before sitting down. Her ability to fight the pleasuring sensation was fleeing rapidly. Alana raises her hand in an attempt to ask for more wine when it gets interrupted by sporadic pulsations. As she stutters, Jason asks if she is okay. She says yes and blames it on a draft of cold air. Out of the corner of her eye, she can see the doctor staring at her. His right hand is hidden under the table. All she can think about is the audacity of Dr. Strickland putting her in this predicament. At this point, she is questioning everything, especially her ethics. All she could think about was Dr. Strickland is going to make her orgasm in front of his wife and Jason. Dr. Strickland and Jason are having a deep conversation. Christina sees Alana with her left hand attached to her wine glass, the other covering her mouth, and her eyes are closed. Christina places her hand on the arm that is attached to the wine glass and rubs comfortingly. Alana opens her eyes and removes the hand covering her mouth. She does the hand gesture for okay and mouths the words "I'm okay." Christina can see droplets of sweat starting to form on Alana's forehead. Alana's panties are soaked and her wetness is starting to drip down her legs. Just when she thought the vibrations couldn't get more pleasurably violent, they did. A long vibration rumbled her clit as if it was a tiny boxer punching her bean like a speed bag. Jason hears the vibration, breaks conversation and asks if that was Mia giving an update on their daughter. Alana looks at Jason and quickly says yes. Through her peripherals, she sees Dr. Strickland with a smug look on his face. Jason goes back to his conversation. Alana lets go of the wine glass and grabs Christina's right hand with her left. Alana's right hand is under the table pressed against the vibrating device in her underwear, trying to stop the floodgates from opening. Her efforts are unsuccessful. She musters up enough strength mid-orgasm and gently squeezes Christina's hand, thanking her for a wonderful evening. It was the only decision Alana could make that wouldn't give anything away as to what was going on under the table. Underneath the table was pure chaos. Alana's legs are twitching. Her hand, her underwear, part of her dress, and the chair is soaked. Alana felt as if she sold her ethics for a grade. She slowly pulls her hand away from Christina with the feeling of guilt and shame. Christina signals the waiter to bring over some water. Jason and Dr. Strickland wrap up their conversation and Jason asks Alana if she is ready to leave. She nods her head yes and Dr. Strickland asks for the bill. Jason reaches for Alana's left hand as the waiter pours the water and leaves to retrieve the bill. So many thoughts were dancing in Alana's mind as she wipes her wet hand onto the seat while no one is paying attention. A feeling of relief came when a likely scenario would justify everything. It all makes perfect sense in her brain. Dr. Strickland gave Jason the remote when we went to the bathroom. Jason was the one in control the whole time. Alana convincingly tells herself Jason was told about the assignment and he agreed to go along with it. She feels the timing of Jason checking on her was too coincidental. A smile begins to appear on Alana's face. The only other problem is the conditions of Alana's dress and her seat. While Dr. Strickland is paying the bill, Christina advises Alana to drink some water before she stands up just in case she loses her balance. Everyone begins to stand up except Alana. She grabs her glass of water. Jason and Dr. Strickland are still engaging in small talk as Christina stands next to Alana and accidentally bumps her arm and the water spills onto Alana's dress. Christina apologizes profusely as she grabs a napkin, bends down to start blotting Alana's dress. Jason leans in to help and Alana insists to everyone it is fine because they are getting ready to leave. The waiter tells Alana not to worry about it. All of Alana's anxiety dissipated. She knew a higher power had to be looking out for her because now she doesn't have to explain why she and the chair are wet. Alana cleans up the remaining fluids on her chair and places the orgasm-soaked napkin on the table as they exit the restaurant. The group stands outside of the restaurant to say their final farewells. Dr. Strickland alludes to Alana that he believes she is a bright student and she'll probably earn an A for the semester. Dr. Strickland grabs Alana's right hand and slowly kisses it as he stares into her eyes. For the 2 seconds that feels more like an eternity, Alana feels shame and reluctant to admit she's turned on. Christina and Jason exchange handshakes, as does Jason and Dr. Strickland. Christina walks over in her thigh-length, cleavage exposed, form-fitting red dress to give Alana a tight hug. Alana is feeling a little bit uncomfortable because of her bodily fluids all over her dress. While clinched, she expresses how much of a good time that she has had, and they exchange compliments on how beautiful they think each other are. Christina suggests they should exchange numbers and expresses that she is glad Alana came. Both parties begin to make their way to their cars in opposite directions of the parking lot when Alana hears Christina call her name. Alana turns around and they begin to walk toward each other. Christina has her closed hand stretched out as if to hand her something. Alana holds out her hand as Christina says, "I think you might have dropped this." She places what seems to be something lipstick-shaped in Alana's hand. Christina immediately turns around and walks away. Alana is standing there confused. She starts to say, "This isn't mine," as she presses one of the buttons on the lipstick-like object. She is suddenly caught off guard and her right leg almost gives. She felt a familiar feeling similar to the one in the bathroom. With 1,000 questions arising and vibrations tickling her still sensitive clit, she immediately looks in Christina's direction, and they make eye contact. Christina smiles and waves as she turns back around to continue her walk to the car. All Alana can do is stand there and stare in disbelief. Jason, who is standing at the car, yells and asks if everything is okay. Alana places the lipstick-shaped device in her bag and walks to the car.
On the next episode of Bella Vita.
In a civilization suffering from an income and sterility crisis, birth rates have plummeted to an all-time low. With economic stability at risk due to population decline and a shrinking workforce, the government, alongside the most talented scientists, has launched a program to rebuild society. To incentivize participation, fertile citizens are offered lucrative payouts and corporate bonuses. Desperate times call for desperate measures, and the program's success depends on willing participants. Individuals are invited to come and contribute, or are the individuals who come the contribution? Everyone's experiences may be different, but the endings are all the same. They're all happy. Together, let's rebuild the population.